Hey everyone, it is your host Damien here from Hybrid Heroes, and this is the HYROX Heroes podcast, where we talk everything that you need to know when it comes to getting ready for your next HYROX race. Excited to have you here, and let's get into the episode. Guys, how are we all? And I am absolutely pumped to deliver today's podcast episode to you. And what we're going to go over today is we're going to dive into 6 key areas, right, that you need to dial in, right? If you've signed up for a HYROX, now, this is what we're going to talk about. You've signed up for a HYROX for what reason? Are you wanting to podium? Are you wanting to just do the race? It's your first time ever doing anything like this. Have you done the race before and you want a PB? The question is, and what I deal with on a daily basis is, how do we help people work towards their goals? Now, a lot of the times, how we do it is actually very simple. We put together a really good training plan that's smart, right? It's progression, and go do it, right? And follow it and you will get a result. It is that simple. But we're dealing with humans. And if we know something about humans, we are not just simple beings, right? Men, women, totally different. What drives us is different. But also as human beings, and this is what is so important, every single person is unique. Their situation, what they've been through, their past traumas, their belief systems, their goals. Like, how do we then just give everyone the one plan, the one program, right? And it's going to get the same result for everyone. It doesn't work that way. Hence why we're jumping on podcasts, we're doing talks, and today I'm going to deliver you 6 key areas that's going to help you understand you. It's going to help create clarity in your mind, in your thinking. And it doesn't matter if you got a run session, you're training with your local group, you get an amazing program, obviously from Hybrid Heroes. It doesn't matter. If we get your mind right, you're going to unlock everything. And this is where people go wrong. And we're going to talk through it. And when I say wrong, misaligned. Have you ever heard that golf ball analogy? You can hit that golf ball, and if the club head is 1 millimeter in a different angle, right, that ball is going to go in a totally different direction. And that's as simple as it can be for a lot of people. You're doing all the right things. You've got all the right things in place. You're working hard. You're training hard. You're fitting it all in. But you might just be going in a different direction. That direction could be your happiness. That direction could be your fulfillment. That could lead people going down the road and go, what am I doing? I don't even want to do this, right? And it's not that we don't value health, we don't value HYROX, we don't value that. It's the way we're doing it. But it's like, whose problem is that? Is it someone else's problem, or is it your problem? The reality is, not the reality, the truth is, it's your problem, right? So we're going to go through that. This is going to be, this is what I love to talk about. This is what I love to do, because I know it gives so much value to people, right? And because that's what we're here for. Like, we want to get you over that HYROX finish line. We want to get you a great result. But it's not HYROX, it's the person. I want the person to experience, a great race. I want them to get healthy. I want them to fulfill their dreams, their desires, the things that make them light up. So we're dealing with people, and we're going to talk about that right here, right now. Such a great podcast we're going to go through. Okay, so key number one. And this is like, if you don't get this one right, that's why we're going to talk about it as number one. If you don't get this one right, nothing else, like, really, can we say is, then we'll work properly, right? We'll work properly. So you got to know your starting point. You got to get clear on your goals. Like, it's like, what do we want to go and achieve, right? So knowing your starting point and knowing your goal will mean, like, okay, I want to complete the race. Is very different to, I want to podium finish the race. Totally, you're both finishing the race, but the actions required are totally different. Now, also, you got to know your starting point. So goals and starting point. So if you're a beginner, if you're a brand new, like, you can't run more than 8 kilometers nonstop, right? So if that's you, but you're like, I want a podium finish, okay? Now, there is nothing wrong with that goal. But if you've got 12 weeks until your next race and you're like, I want a podium, or I think I'm going to do really good, I think I'm good enough to do it. Like, that's where we just got to, you got to know your starting point. You got to get clear with where you're at, right? So if you're a beginner, it's fair to say that your goal is, I just want to finish the race. Now that's a really great goal for a beginner to have, because they're like, I've never done it. I'm still learning to run. I'm still building my volume. And I just want to, do the best I can, finish race number one and see how I go. Right. And I know lots of beginners, and why I bring this up too is because we deal with people, and I've seen it, beginners, but they feel good at an area of HYROX. So as they start training and making progress, that initial goal that they set out at the start, which is I just want to finish the race, they then start to turn their goal into, oh, I think I can go like, sub 110 now. Or, they start to then put this new goal, this new expectation as they start to make progress. So they're on track to doing good. They're changing their health. They're changing their habits. They're getting fitter. They're running. But now their goal changes to, I want to go 110. And that goal, it's like they might not be ready for 110. So now it turns into a different goal, because again, starting just wanting to finish race and going sub 110 in a solo race, it's different actions, right? And I see this a lot because these people don't achieve 110, right? Because they never were really going to, and they never were meant to, because they only had 12 weeks to train, 8 weeks to train. But then they created this new expectation. Why? Because of ego, because of, their friend Sally's doing it and they want to beat Sally, and they change their goal. Or they get a little bit of motivation. We're going to talk about this as well, is they get too over motivated. They start to then see things better than what it actually is, right? And then, this leads to now a conflict, right? And we are going to talk about this more and more as well. A conflict in what they can do with their schedule, with their, with the amount of time they have to train, and their ambition changes, right? So another goal. So someone who is in the high, maybe you've done a HYROX before, and now you want to beat your time, right? So again, we've got to look at all those elements. We've got to look at, well, do you work 40, 50 hours a week? Do you have family? Do you have kids? How much time do you have to train? Now, it's not just training. Everyone just looks at the training as like the only, metric, or the only thing that's important to getting a result. It's like, can I prep my meals? Do I have time to cook? Do I have time to get 8 hours of sleep? Do I, have all these things that are needed, right? Do I have time to recover? Do I have all these things that are needed to then achieve my goals? So again, if you're someone who's done a HYROX, now I want to go podium, right? I'm going to set that goal. I want to go to a podium finish, right? But let's just say you are very time poor. You've only got 4 days to train max for 60 minutes, right? Now, does that mean that no one can achieve podium? Absolutely not. But it's like, is that your true goal? Like, is that your priority? Now, like other goals that we can set is, I just want to improve my time. I want to get better at running. I want to feel fitter. I want to get leaner. I want to look better. I want to feel more confident in myself. Other things that might be driving you might be like the community. I just want to train with friends. I want to this and that, right? So it's like understanding my goal. What is my goal? Because sometimes we just throw it out there. I want to do sub 60, or I just want to do 110, because we don't know how to articulate what is actually important to us, right? But also it's going, okay, I want that goal, but just where am I as well, right? Because goals, now this is the thing, you might then need to look at your goals in a different timeline. So your timeline could be, well, I want to get a podium, but I'm here right now. So I want to achieve that in 3 years' time, 2 to 3 years' time, maybe. Because what I need to do is I need to create more time in the week to train. So I need to change other things in my life. Like literally, it could be I need to arrange things with work different. I need to break up with that partner. I need to, remove that. I'm playing, netball on the weekends. Or during the week, and the season finishes soon. So once that finished, then I can, do more training for HYROX. See, you got to create a bigger plan, right? Because I see it all the time. Hence why I'm talking about it. People have these goals and expectations, right, that are out of reach. Now it's like, aim for the moon, you land in the stars. Something we always definitely want to achieve more. And I'm not saying you can't, but it's like, if we want to feel more aligned, if we want to make progress, actual productive progress, then we have to just be more clear on what it is that we truly, truly desire. And if you are listening to this, and I'm just going to use, if you want to be a podium finisher, right? So what does podium finisher mean? Highly disciplined. You got to be the absolute elite. You got to be super fast. You got to be running super quick. You got to be strong. You got to be all that. Now, if that is something that you truly want to be, right? Then it just, then you got to be all those things. You got to be disciplined. You got to be someone that's hardworking. You got to be someone that incorporates training into your lifestyle. It's not just the podium that you just want, right? And that's the thing that we got to get clear on. It's like, do you just want to land on the podium? Like, you don't want to be disciplined. You don't want to do the hard work. You don't want to live that lifestyle. You don't want to, train 5 or 6 days a week. Then what do we want? Do we just want the validation? Do we just want to be good at something? Do we just, we just want to be seen as good to our peers? This is where the inner work has to come in, right? So again, there's nothing wrong with big, audacious goals. We call them BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals, right? We want those things, but it's like, don't just don't just wish to be a millionaire. You got to wish for the problems that come with being a millionaire. You got to wish for things, as an example. So don't wish to be an elite athlete, because you got to get up in the morning like an elite athlete. You got to eat like an elite athlete. You got to do all those things. And that's the thing that we should be driven off. So again, just going to bring it back, because most people, 99% of people who do HYROX are not elite athletes, right? So we're normal people. So what is it that we want? Well, I just want to be healthy. I just want to be fit. I want to train with my buddies. I want to do HYROX. I want experiences. I want to travel. I just want to be amongst it, right? And you can do all that, and you can do it all 4 days a week training. You can do it all by giving it a red hot crack. You can do it all by, again, just doing a bunch of little things like the nutrition, a bit of sleep. You don't have to be elite at it all to get really, really good at HYROX, okay? So understand where you're at and set goals, right, that are truly in line, not just with the result, but with who you want to be, okay? Whew. All right, guys, we're going on to tip number 2. All right, and again, these sort of, these points carry over to each other. So again, if we don't have a goal, if we don't have a destination, it's like, I want to go north. If we don't know where our North Star is, right, well, then all of this next bit, again, is really hard to do it. So now that we understand what it is that we truly want to achieve, what our goal is, I just want to do HYROX, I want to PB my time, I want to land on the podium. Now we have to align our training, our nutrition, and our lifestyle all together, okay? Again, it's not just training. Biggest mistake people do is they focus on the training. Nutrition is an afterthought, right? And lifestyle is like, for a lot of people, it doesn't necessarily come into the equation. And for a lot of people, now, some people fully embody a healthy lifestyle. Fitness is not a new thing. They're going to the gym, they're training. This is their usual. But there's also a lot of people that still have that side of things. But then they also love the weekend. They love going out for dinner. They love a bottle of wine, right? I'm going to say, there's going to be some wine lovers on here. They love going out to the pub. They love having a few drinks, right? They love, doing other things, which you're meant to, right? It's life. We're not just paid professional athletes that don't have lives. You can do all those things. But this is where, again, it comes back to your goals. If you're John, who just, your mates are doing HYROX, and you want to cross that finish line, and you just want to give it a good crack, and you want to do your best, then you can absolutely enjoy the weekends. Like, that is the balance of life. You're going to go out, you're going to have a few drinks on a Saturday night, maybe not, Friday to Sunday, like every single night, but one night you go to have a few drinks, you go have a restaurant meal. People, you don't even need a drink. Like, indulging can be desserts. It can be, again, restaurant meals, because these are still heavy on the body and so forth, right? But that's okay for John, because it's in line with who he is, the type of life he wants to live, and also it's still going to deliver him a result, okay? Now, there are so many people in this hybrid space, again, because I see it, I know you are, I know people listening there. They want to do good at HYROX. They want to get faster. I hear it. I get the messages. My running's not improving. I don't think I'm ready enough for HYROX. These are the people, the ones who feel underprepared, underdone, like they're not making the progress, but they're living it up on the weekend. They're going out, they're drinking Friday night, they're drinking Saturday night, they're going out for dinner, they're staying out late, and then they're trying to undo all that work come Monday and then try it. And then they're just being, again, overloading their body because the body is still recovering. And then they're trying to train extra hard. They got work, they're stressed. And these are the people that get stuck in this cycle. Now, the reality is what creates a lot of this stress and where the problem starts to come about is because their goals, because they want to do better. They want a PB, but they don't want to give up that lifestyle. They don't want to give up those, that dopamine. They don't want to give up that, significance or importance of that weekend. It's the belief system, right? So this is what I always, say to people. It's like, well, if you want to be world champion or, go to world championships, then you got to act like someone who's gone to world championships. If you just want to go under an hour 30 and just have a lot of fun, then you just got to act like someone who's at that level. If you're an absolute beginner, right, and you're just getting into fitness and healthy habits, then you just got to match everything with where you're at. It's actually, there is no right or wrong here. And this is the ultimate message here. There is no right or wrong. You just got to get clear on who you are and what motivates you, who do you believe you are? Because it's that, again, conflict in beliefs, right? I want to be elite, but I still want to live life, of luxury and indulgence. They don't go hand in hand, right? And this is where it can be hard. But when we get this clarity, right, training, nutrition, lifestyle, they're all equal parts. So you just you can't eat out every single night. You got to cook some meals at home, just some meals, do it 5 days a week, go out a couple times on the weekend. It's totally fine. That's going to deliver a result. Training, you don't have to train 6 days a week. Just train 4 to 5 days a week, right? Go for walks every now and then. Live a lifestyle balance, maybe a little bit of meditation, maybe a little bit of wind down time, walking and just getting out and doing things that take stress off your body and your mind, right? If you get that balance right, it's going to deliver a result. All of those areas deliver a result. So if you're someone who's struggling to break through, right? You've gone back and gone, you know what? Now I've got clear on my goals. How do these areas align with my goals now? My training, is my training on track? Well, yeah, I'm training really hard. Cool. What's my nutrition? Ooh, nutrition can be a bit better. Can be a bit better? Explain what's bad about it. What can be better about it? Maybe you're not eating enough. And a lot of times too, when people say better, it's a whole other talk nutrition is they think I've got to eat less. No, you actually got to eat more. You got to fuel your body to perform, right? You got to be eating better food, more of it. And then lifestyle. It's like, I can't be chasing dopamine. I got to start to do some more relaxing things in my life. And I got to find, sustainability, right, in my approach to life. So that is key number 2. All right. Hopefully this makes sense. I got some notes here because, lifestyle, even sleep. If you're as another point, there's so many things that can contribute to lifestyle. If you're sleeping really poorly, it's going to be a massive break, right? That's on all the time for you to make progress towards your goals. Okay. So we're going to look at all those areas. So the third point, right? And again, it ties in. So we've got goals. Now, a lot of people that I deal with tend to set goals and they have ambitions that are very short term. Now, short term to me is sort of 12 weeks to 6 months is very short term, right? Because they're just thinking about the next thing, like the race. Oh, I got HYROX Sydney. HYROX Sydney is in 8 weeks. We have people that are right now, just I want to do HYROX Sydney. And their only goal is in 8 weeks time. Now, what are they doing? They're getting, potentially some of these people are getting caught up on the excitement of HYROX and they want to get amongst it. But for a lot of people, it's this approach, right? When we just think such short term, that's where we can be, again, we can set goals and be over ambitious with what we want to achieve. And again, why do we become over ambitious? Because we're positive people. We want to see the best, we want to achieve. But also a lot of people, I feel are well, if it's not a great challenge, if it's not a big achievement, if I can't go from nothing to hero, then I don't want to do it. And again, that's actually it's sort of why does it need to be such a big challenge? Why does it need to be such a thing. And it's because these people are driven by, they need a little bit of significance, right? Like, we're all these people, right? It's not like anyone's perfect. I'm by no means perfect at any of this, but we do it because we want to be seen as, good, right? That's our human behavior. We want to be loved by our peers. We want to be seen as good. So it's like, oh, I can't even run, but I've signed up for HYROX. Again, that gives you significance right away. But what happens here, and this is what I deal with people all the time, is this person starts off training first week, bang, kills all their sessions, posting their Strava runs, doing, just killing training, smashing the sessions, feeling like they're well on track. Week number 2 comes around. They're feeling a bit sore in the body. They're still going after it. They're going for their run again, posting it. Week number 3 comes around. Their body is really sore now. They missed that run. They didn't post that thing. Someone stopped liking their run. They stopped giving them kudos. Now they're getting into the meat where people aren't, like, it's not a new thing anymore. People aren't giving you all the validation around it anymore. And now you're like, oh, this is actually really, really hard. Week number 4 comes around now, right? And that goal now, like, you've set off way too hard, right? Because you've set a really audacious goal. But now you're just in the trenches. Now no one's giving you love or validation. Now your body is really sore. Your performance is starting to dip a little bit. You need to now work on other areas like your nutrition and your lifestyle, and all these factors come into it, because just training super hard for 6 days in a row, potentially 7 days in a row, is no longer cutting it anymore. And this now becomes a fucking hard slog. It becomes really, really hard. And again, this comes with the expectation that you set on yourself to achieve great things in such a very short period of time, right? You set this big task because you wanted to do something that's not normal. You wanted to be special. You wanted to, for people to acknowledge you on how great you did from where you were in such a short amount of time. And this is, I know I'm speaking the truth and reality now. There are so many people out there. But the one thing, and to that person, who is that person, and you might be kind to that person. You don't have to be fully that person. There might be bits of that. But what I'm going to say now is the thing that will instantly change, will change your outlook and will fix things right away, is you got to take that short-term thinking and that short-term validation and turn it into long-term validation. Turn it into a long-term goal. Your next HYROX, and this is one thing that I'm going to say to everybody, your next HYROX is going to be the worst HYROX, right? Your HYROXes after that are only going to get better. So your next one does not need to be the best one, right? It is literally, and when I say it's the worst one, it's not the worst one ever. Maybe you've done one before and they get better each time, but it's not going to be the best one, right? Your next one is going to be, just the next marker, the next stepping stone, right? And if you truly want to get good at HYROX, right? If you want to get good at HYROX, if you want to get to, sub 110s, if you want to get to sub 60s, if you want to do all that kind of stuff, you got to understand that my next HYROX is not going to be my best one. The one after that is going to be better, but that's not going to be my best one. The one after that is going to be better, but it's still not going to be my best one. This thing, you should be constantly driven of getting better and better. And this goes back to like what I said. If anyone wants to be a podium finisher, as an example, you can do it. You can do it. It might take you 8 HYROXes to get there. It might take you 20 HYROXes to get there. But if you keep going, you will get that. Now, that comes back to who do you want to be? Your belief system. Again, if you're someone who is just doing this for a quick thrill, right? That might be just part of your goals, right? But then, you know what I mean? That just might be part of your goals. I just want to do a quick thrill. I want to hit it hard in 8 weeks and then I'm done with it, right? I don't want to do it again. But I know that's not a lot of people. We're not here. A lot of people aren't here for a quick thrill. So we've got to take that short-term side of this, because even a lot of people I deal with, they're very, they do their HYROX. They have a 12-week prep, 8-week prep. Some of them start even later. And then after the race, and it's not everyone. A lot of people are ecstatic. They're pumped with their result. But there are so many people as well that they're just hard on themselves. And it's like, so you only train for 10 weeks. You still got a great time, but now you're upset at yourself. It's like, no. that's again, short-term focus, right? And the reality is you just wanted to do something great and you didn't get that significance on that validation. You didn't meet your expectations because you created expectations that were just way too hard to achieve, right? And again, it was a you thing. It was something that you didn't analyze properly. You didn't set clear enough goals, right? And it's not to say that nobody can be a little bit disappointed with their result. It's what we want to do. We want to aim for X, see what we get, see how we can improve. So you have to. But I'm talking about the people that are really hard on themselves. This should not be the case, right? We should go, okay, I can do better, but then straight away go, bang, that's what it is. Now, how do I improve from here? I get excited. Awesome. That was a benchmark. Did this really well. Did that bad. Cool. Now I get to learn and I get to take that into my next training block. Now I get to focus on my running. Now I get to focus on my stations, whatever it is. So you got to think long-term. To be good at HYROX, to be good as an athlete, it's not just a one race approach. Whew. All right, guys, we're doing good. Point number 4. Key number 4, I should say. Now, this is really important. Again, everything's in line. We got goals. You got to know your starting point. You got to analyze your training, nutrition, lifestyle. You got to think long term. But you got to understand, and again, I said this right at the start, we're all unique individuals. So you got to understand what drives you. What is your driving force? Now, we're not all just like perfect monks who, are one with ourselves, need no validation from anyone, and the universal God delivers everything for us, and we're all centered. Wouldn't the world be an amazing place if we were this person, right? But it's not, and it doesn't need to be, right? Because we need to understand what drives you. Because are you someone that is self-motivated? Are you a self-motivated person that's like, doesn't matter, you could do it alone, you could do it out in the middle of nowhere, right? You got goals, you got ambitions, and you're that person that I'm going to set my goal and that's what I'm going to achieve. No one's going to get in my way type person, right? I am not this person, right? I am someone who is driven off community. I am driven off being around other people. I love and I thrive being around other people's energy. It gets the most out of me. A big part of how Hybrid Heroes came about was because I was doing it alone. And I do that because I know that's necessary for me to continue to make growth. Because if I wait for everybody, I'm going to go nowhere. But Hybrid Heroes really came about and I started to get people around me and we created an environment, created a group because I wanted to be around like-minded people and create a space that not only I could help people, but those people would also help me. All right. So you got to know what drives you. Are you someone that's like, are you driven by, you got something to prove, right? And again, like this comes with, yes, there's some inner work that you need to understand why this would be the case. But also it's like, absolutely use this if that's in you. Like, were you someone that was not the most athletically gifted person? I'm probably talking about myself right now. Someone who was a bit overweight when they were younger, got bullied, got picked second in the team. People didn't, or you always got sort of left in the shadows. People overlooked you. Wow, yes. See, we're all driven by something, right? And you got something to prove, right? That could be you, right? That could be you because, again, you don't want to be that person anymore, right? And you want to be someone else. And you look, and the people who are like that, the people you admire, you want to become that person. So you got to use that. That can be a really great driving force. Do you want to do you want to do something for like your parents? Maybe, again, you want to do your parents proud. You want to do your partner proud. You got kids. You want to be a role model for your children. Maybe you've turned your life around and now you want to, make sure that your kids grow up with a real healthy role model, right? These are the things it could go on, the things that could motivate you. Maybe you've come out of a breakup and, you want that ex-bod, or the revenge bod, I should say. Actually don't do that one, but you know what I mean? Maybe you are someone that, you've gone through some hard times. Yeah. Maybe your partner left you. Maybe you've left on your own and you've just realized that, geez, I got to take responsibility for my life and I got to, start to be more disciplined, and I really got to understand that my life is my responsibility. And training, and I mentor a few young men, because this is really important to them, and women as well. But we got to start to understand, like, well, training, right? So again, this definitely for men and women as well. But I say this to the guys because guys, we're very physical, right? We love, wrestle, get physical, run around, lift things. Like, that's what we love. And I say to guys, if you want the rest of your life to improve, right? I'm like, nail the training. Like, if you got some emotional issues, if you've got some mental issues, if you've got some habit issues, I'm like, we got to tackle all of them. We got to start to change the way you think, the way you see things, your belief systems. But like, we can start all of that. We can get the ball rolling by nailing our training. Because what does training do for a lot of us? It will create discipline. It will create consistency. It will create habits. It will create patterns. We will work on our body physically, which then will give clarity to our mind as well when we have that physical benefit. So for a lot of us, that could be a driving force. Maybe your life is just a bit of a mess, right? It's a bit of a mess, and that's okay, because no one's life is fucking perfect at all. But maybe right now you need to gain some control, right? And we can do that with training, right? And that's why training becomes such an anchor for a lot of us, because this is the one thing that we can control and that we can do, and we can do quite well. And because we're human, right? It's not like everyone's different. We're human at the end of the day, as far as our biology, and understanding that human movement and physical activity is good for our body, for our mind, our soul, right? So what drives you is the question, right? And understanding, once you got that, right? So I'm asking you right now, you got to think about it. Just think about it right now. What drives you? Okay. Now, whatever you do, if we're going back on the list of things, like thinking about long-term goals, aligning training, nutrition, lifestyle, knowing your starting point, put that driving force there at all times. And don't feel bad about the thing that is driving you, that makes you driven. It's only for you to know. You don't need to go and tell everyone, hey, my name's Damien. Like, I'm driven by today's session from my childhood traumas. Like, no, you don't need to say that. You need to understand that shit, right? But you need to understand where it's going, because you're not just trying to fix the person in the past. You're trying to create the person you want to be in the future. Okay. Whew. All right, guys, we're doing good. We're going into tip number 5. Key number 5. So you can start to see where we're going. What drives you? Now, you got to do the inner work. Yes. All right. You know what's driven. Now, uncovering what drives you, you might actually say, fuck me. This is actually quite a negative thing. Maybe I am driven by a little bit of trauma. Maybe I am driven by things that, I need to work on. Right? Maybe you don't. Maybe you're like, I'm driven because like I'm just a motivated individual and everything I do really well. Right? But whatever it is, you got to do the inner work. Why? Because HYROX, if you do HYROX well, right? And when I say HYROX, the training, the preparation, the planning, the goal setting, the nutrition, everything that you do, if you do it well and you start to achieve, right? Or you start to make progress, you are going to get to a point where, you are going to get challenged in some way. HYROX is not an easy race. The training is not easy. Everything about it is more challenging. Like, you're talking multi-modalities. You're talking running, strength training, pacing, 8 different stations, running around and doing it around 10,000 other people. Like, comparison issues, not good enough issues, someone's faster than me issues. Like, there is so much going on. So how do we stay centered? How do we stay in line? How do we not get sidetracked? Because we will a little bit, but how do we just regather ourselves? How do we then stop, falling off our track and in line with someone else's goals, right? And then all of a sudden, this is the fulfillment, and then we put ourselves then in the wrong environments, right? These are the things. So you got to start to do the inner work. Now, a point that I had here is because, like, once you start to get all this, right, and this is where some of the inner work will really come. Because once you really start to understand, what are my goals? Who am I? What am I driven by? Right? You now are going to realize that maybe you were not in line with your goals and you are in line with other people's goals, right? And you now got to look to those people and go, wow, did these people, my friends, right? This is a hard truth. My friends, my environment, the gym that I train at, my work, all these things, are they misaligned with who I am ultimately, right? Because this is where the problem is, and this is where sometimes it's like I say it like an indoor plant outside, right? It's if you put the wrong plant in the wrong environment, it can die. So if you're feeling like you're always struggling with your environment, it might not be a you thing, it might be a them thing, right? And you have to change your environment. But then whose choice is that? It's you, right? And unlike the plant that just gets placed where it gets placed, you got legs, so you can actually move around. So if you're indoors and you need to be outdoors, you can walk outside, right? So we got to look to our environment. Does this environment match who I am? All right. So that is the other thing. The other truth to that as well is, right, it's maybe you are in a great environment. Maybe you do have great friends around you. And maybe these people are challenging you in positive ways. Maybe your environment is leveling you up. Maybe, you got people around you who are eating really good and training hard. We got this, and I'm so grateful. We got this with Hybrid Heroes, with our training group here in Melbourne. Is we got people that are just doing the deal, but they're humble, they're supportive, they're nice. But what does that do? It shines a light on you. It shines a light on you, and it makes you reflect on who you are, what you're doing. Am I good enough? Can I keep up? Right? What are my goals? What are my values? And that's where you get challenged. And that's what a good environment will do. That's what a good friend will do, is they will challenge you, not by necessarily getting a stick and poking you and going, hey, you need to do better. Tell me about your childhood traumas. How are you overcoming it? No, they challenge you by just being good examples. They challenge you by just creating a space, right, that allows you to lean into it and be your best version. And, and so you might recognize right now, who is challenging you? Is there an environment that challenges you? Is there a person that challenges you? Is there a coach? Is this podcast challenging you? Who knows? But that's your inner work, right? So we can blame the environment, right? And sometimes, like I said, indoor plant, outdoors, it's going to die. So we have to understand that sometimes the wrong environment needs to change, and that's our responsibility. So it's a you thing, or it's a me thing. Maybe I'm holding on to negative beliefs. Maybe I'm a downer. Maybe I just bring low energy to the situation. Why? Because I'm scared. Because I don't know if I'm good enough. It's not because I want to be negative and I want to bring low energy, but I'm fucking scared. And I constantly feel like I'm not good enough, and I have self-doubt, and I've set these big audacious goals, and now I'm going to be exposed for not being able to achieve them. You see how it all is in line. So where some people can get to is and this is where, even with some of the people we coach and I do myself, is like our running. Running, we know we're constantly getting better at, and we're becoming really good at running. But if we just tried to keep up the fastest people every session, we will make ourselves feel bad. We will run bad, everything bad. So as an example, we have people that go fast, but I go, okay, I just need to run a little bit faster this week. Stay in my lane, be focused on what that means to me. Oh, okay, I ran the kilometer in 4:20 last week. I did 4:15 this week. Bang, high five, awesome. I'm making progress. Now it's 4:10, so forth. So see how people around us can, if we're not clear, right? If we're not clear on who we are, what we need to do to make progress, if we just get caught up on just our environment and trying to impress our environment, it's actually in a dialogue issue, because you're not there to make progress. Because if you're there to make progress, you'd be focused on your numbers. You'd be focused on, how do I go from 4:15 to 4:10 on my 1K run, instead of going, I'm not good enough to be around these people. It's inner work. It's a you problem, right? So can you just like, okay, Damien, it's a me problem. Great. Solve it, fixed it, right? It's not that simple. There's so much. There's podcasts, there's books, there's YouTube, there's therapists that you can go talk to. It could be your coach. This is what I do for a lot of people. But all I'm saying is the biggest the biggest step forward is just understanding, wow, it is me. It's nothing wrong with these people. Actually, it's got nothing to do with it. This maybe, yeah, I'm off track somewhere and I just got to focus a bit more on me. And when you focus on you, right, this is the other thing. It's not selfish. It is not selfish. Focusing on you and allowing you to be the best you can be and making that progress and is going to bring you happiness. It's truly going to start to bring you happiness. There's a saying by Tony Robbins, progress equals happiness. And it's something that I'm driven off massively. Because when we start to make progress as humans and we're happy, how do people feel around you? A happy version of you, someone who feels like they're making progress, right? People like being around you. You are a better human being to be around, right? So now be that person for 7 weeks, for 7 days. Be that person for 2 weeks. Be that person for the next month. Be that person for the next 12 weeks. Your life is going to be so much better, and everyone around you, right, is also going to love being more around you. Hopefully this makes some sense to you guys, right? So as we can see, and that's why, it's like, how do we get better at HYROX? Do I just say, let's do 800 meters, 30-second rest by 8 rounds, be repeatable, do that. It's like, that's not how, that is a training session. But how you get better at HYROX is about improving you, right? Understanding your brain, understanding the thing that sets goals. And then the how-tos, how to do the session, how that will all be taken care of. Now, this is the last one. This one isn't as philosophical as the others, but it is just as important. All right, you've done the inner work, or you started to do the inner work. You understand that you're the problem. You're the solution, okay? You understand what drives you. You're thinking long-term. You got some short-term goals, but they're in line with longer-term visions. You're inspired by who you're going to be now. You're aligned. You're training, nutrition, lifestyle. You're putting it all into the equation, right? You're starting to you've set a clear goal, right? And you know where you are, right? And those goals feel good because they are aligned. Where you are, where you want to be is here. There's not a big discrepancy between it, right? You got all the framework there. Now, you just got to do the fucking work. You can't, now you just got to actually get your ass to the fucking gym, get to the running track, get on the treadmill, and you have to do the work. We get to these points. I don't know if, I do this with work sometimes. I know, it's like before I do work, I procrastinate. I got to clean the house. I got to do the dishes. I got to clean my desk. I'll send the message there. I'll pat the dog for 10 minutes. But then once it's all done and you can't procrastinate anymore, you're like, fuck, I just got to do the work now, right? It's that kind of feeling. And it's like, oh, I just don't want to do the work. That's the reality, sometimes. But then you just get stuck into it. You do the work and then you feel better for it. And that's where a lot of people are at. Now, even a lot of things that I'm having here, this isn't maybe brand new to a lot. It's like, you know what? I'm actually pretty good with all this. I am pretty balanced. But you know what? I do just procrastinate a little bit and I just got to do the work. We do it we provide training programs. So when I say that is we provide people framework, structure, right? That helps them achieve their goals, and it's proven. Coach, it's not like we're doing stuff that we're unsure of. So we give people this, right? But then we see people come unstuck. We see people fall off the program, this and that, don't achieve. And it does happen, but it's not because of the program. It's not because of the program doesn't work. It works. There's a lot of great programs out there that work. There are even some bad programs out there that if done well will still work, right? But again, what happens, right? And this is the thing, is what happens is people, we get in our own brains. We overcomplicate shit, right? We start to think short term. We start to change our goals. We stop, what was driving us is no longer driving us because we didn't even know what was driving us, right? We stop getting that validation. We stop seeing the progress. Now we actually get to the point where we have to actually do the work, right? Come on, that's what we're here for. We're here to do the work. Now, we say it all the time with our elite athletes and the people doing really well, is our training programs are super simple. They're structured really, really simply. the tasks that we got to do. Nutrition, when you break it down, it's actually a simple thing. Your routine, it's actually quite simple. Everything is quite simple, but doing the work, and this is not to take away why this is hard. Doing the work is the hard bit, right? Doing it week after week, showing up and just following the plan is quite hard, right? Is quite hard. But, life will get in the way, everything, but it's not, I don't think life gets in the way. I think just life challenges what what you truly want and desire. And that's why everything we spoke about today is really about getting clear, because with clarity comes power. And if you get that clarity, you get that power, truly what you set your goal to, whether you get it in the next 12 weeks, you get it in the next 6 months, or it takes you 2 years to achieve, I guarantee you will eventually get your goal, because what you focus on is what you will get, right? But it comes with a price tag. So do I just want to cross the finish line, right, and just have a great HYROX? It's going to cost you X amount. Do I want to set a PB and do my best? That's going to come with a price tag. Do I want to get to the podium and be a world champion, be a finisher? I want a flag. That's going to come with a higher price tag. So the question is, what are you willing to pay, right? And not pay money, right? What are you willing to pay with dedication, discipline, your time, your energy, your focus, right? Those decisions, your friendships, your environments. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. If you got any questions on any of that, you can reach out to me. How can you do that? You can do this in our Hybrid Heroes online group. We got a free online group. You can join. Link will be down there in the description. If you are someone that wants to get involved with our training app, where we actually have HYROX programs, we got running programs, strength programs, station-specific programs. Basically, we can turn you into a freaking beast wherever you are. Right? We have the plan, we have the pathway to do it, and you get the coaching support in there. It starts from like only $22 a week if you want to go subscription model, or you can just buy the programs outright as well. So guys, links are down low in the description. Go get in touch, right? Engage. You don't have to do this alone. And guys, we'll see you on the next podcast.